So, MLP merch. If you've been in the fandom for at least a bit, you always wanted to get merch, and I was no different. Originally, I thought about making a video showing off every type of MLP merch that I have, but honestly, I don't think that would be a great idea, mainly because I couldn't talk about every piece of merch I have, except for plushies. I love plushies, and I have a lot of them, and a lot of them they have their own stories. Some are amazing, others disappointing, and some that I don't know why I even bought them. And what a better way to do this than in a scripted video. And if you're wondering why am I voiceover over my footage, well, because I would rather have good audio and good visuals than just good visuals. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. Also, hi. And with that, let's begin with the video. Let's begin with my licensed plushies, which I don't have a lot anymore, because I had to sell a lot of them. But I still have 3, which are these ones. Now you might be wondering, what are these plushies exactly? Well, these were called bubble plushies, or if you were in Japan, kawaii pony friends forever. And the reason why I have them is because they were cheap. Back in 2023, I was lucky enough to visit a warehouse that sold leftover toys that stores couldn't sell. Now, this is not weird, many stores do this, or at least where I live they do it. As instead of throwing it away, stores sometimes send them to warehouses to clear inventory. And while I was looking, I saw these 2 for an amazing price of 50 yen each, which is this in USD. And at that price, it was a steal, so I bought them. And fun fact, these 2 plushies came with me to work that day, which, if you were curious about, it was a cafe. So yeah, my coworkers actually saw me getting excited over these 2. What a moment. Now, they're definitely cute, but the quality isn't really the best. The fabric isn't really that soft, and the hair is honestly awful. And to make it even worse, they can't even stand. But I can't get that mad, as they were incredibly cheap, and even at retail price, they were never supposed to be super high quality plushies. Unlike now, this is high quality. This is the only Build-A-Bear plush I have left in my collection, and it's peak, or at least it was. This used to be my favorite plushie I had in my collection. I was there when this plushie came out. This plushie helped me when I was in the hospital as a kid, and when I moved out from the USA, she was the only plush I kept in my collection, so she means a lot to me. But there's better plushies in my collection now and since then. But still, this is a high, big quality plush that I feel any Minty fan should have. So, if I show you this plush and I ask you when it came out, what would you guess? 2010, 2011? Well, it's from 2013, when the 4th dimension was already a thing. This plushie is so bad. It's so awful. And the reason? Because she's bold. This is the exact definition of an outdated plush. Now, yes, at first glance she looks fine, but the more you look, the worse and the worse it gets. Aside of this, the blue is off and the hair gets annoying. And yes, this is how it's supposed to be. Sure, you can do this, but it just looks off. So, Sugarflake, if you hate this plushie so much, why do you have it? Well, because it was my only option when I was a kid. And to be fair, I could see someone buying these plushies to make a custom hat and cape, but just buy any of this instead. Now, unlike Trixie, this one is actually a good plush. I mean, look at it, it's super show accurate and cute. But she has one problem, and I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, unfortunately, my Lara is broken, and unlike Trixie, her hair isn't supposed to look like this, but rather like this. But even then, I like this plushie. And what else can I say than just, she's cute and she's amazing. Now, this one is a little weird.
But Sugarflake, it's a bad pony. Bad ponies are awesome. What do you mean?
Well, yes, this plush looks cool, but it has a problem. The materials. Yes, while the body is super soft and the details are embroidered beautifully, it also has this weird leathery material which just feels weird and off compared to the soft fabric, at least in my opinion, and this part can come off loose, which is a shame because the plushie as a whole looks cool on its own. And honestly, if you were thinking about getting a Bad Pony plush, I think you'll be better getting a custom one from Etsy, especially at the price that this one comes off nowadays, which, yeah, it's not worth it. Now, that's not the case with this 4, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this 4 at the same time is because I got them together at Bronycon 2014. This was my very first convention I ever attended in the US. The convention itself was a blast, but what I really was excited about, aside of the amazing events and the cast meetup, was the vendors hall. And it was like being in paradise. But the only thing that I really caught my eye was these 4, which were $80 at the time. And you know what? I don't regret it. These are awesome. I mean, look at them. They're super cute and fairly show accurate, especially at the time. And I like some of the details that Olifactory put into these plushies, like Apple Bloom's bow and button mashes. Okay. Yeah, this thing kinda sucks. It's accurate, don't get me wrong, but it refuses to stay up, which makes it look, well, like this. But that's what makes it kinda charming, I guess. But as a whole, these ones are cute, they're good, and you can still get them, well, at least these 3 for a fairly good price. While button mash, yeah, I think you'll be better off waiting off on that one. Next is our favorite dictator, Starlights. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. This is not an error, is not a prototype. This is how this plush actually came out at the time, which might be a little confusing and weird because, I mean, she has her normal cutie mark instead of this one, but that was actually intentional, as this plushie was made directly after the Season 5 premiere aired, which, yeah, that's how fast these plushies were made back in the day, and gave us this flawed plush. Now, don't get me wrong, it looks nice, and it's super soft, but it does have, you guessed it, a critical problem. Can you see it? She is permanently stuck at an angle, and that's because for some reason her front legs are longer than her back legs. And to this day I have no clue why they did this. Maybe to help her stand, but when the other Olifactory plushies can stand perfectly fine, for the most part, I really don't get why they did this. But even then, if you want a plushie of Starlights with her best design, yeah, you heard that right, get this. Okay, now this one is very interesting, but not because of the plushie itself, although it's still very good. No, but rather because of the real story behind this plushie. Holly Dash was a background pony that appeared in Season 1 and was the OC of one of the animators in the show, but when Olifactory announced that they were making a Holly Dash plush back in the day, well, Hasbro stepped in, since Holly Dash wasn't considered as an official character at the time, which it's kind of ironic because later she became official. Hasbro at the time demanded to Olifactory to cancel production or get sued, and with that, sadly, most of the pre-orders were cancelled. So, if that's the case, how do I have one? Well, not every single pre-order was cancelled, and some actually went into production. And I'm one of the lucky few that actually has one, which honestly makes it one of the coolest plushies in my collection. Not because it's the best, but because it's a cool little part of history in the MLP fandom, and I like it. Next is Cherry Jubilee. Now you might be wondering, why on earth do you have a plush of such an obscure character? Well, because I like her. This plushie is simply classy and amazing. I mean, look at her, she's so adorable. And also, she has a cute little ribbon around her neck, which, I mean, how can you dislike that? I mean, I don't have a lot to say, there's no real story behind it, aside of me just liking the character. Next is everyone's favorite alcoholic pony, Berry Punch, if you're a fake fan, as she's actually called Berry Shine. Now, some people might look at this plush and say, Well, it's kinda basic. To which I say, all of you are wrong. This is the most peak plushie ever. I mean, look at it. And it shows. But the reason why I love this plushie so much is because it was a gift from a fan at Bronycon 2017. For those who don't know, I've been in the MLP community for a long time, and before being a commentary YouTuber, I was an artist and animator in the community. And let's also say that that wasn't one of my best days. My flight got delayed, I almost lost my travel bag because of an airport employee, and the hotel that I booked gave away my room to someone else. So when I finally got into the event, I was exhausted. But then someone came up to me and gifted me this plushie, which was crazy because someone took time and money of their day to give me this plushie, and that was one of the most amazing feelings I've ever had at that point. And a few days later, I got gifted the convention's mascot by another fan. Her name is Kurtzilla, and I believe she's a bad pony that loves spice. Design-wise, looks amazing, and is one of my only plushies that I never had the heart to open. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but sometimes it's better to keep things as they are in the packaging. And that's why this plushie has such a special place in my heart. And finally, Sugarbell. Yeah, it's no surprise that Sugarflake has a Sugarbell plushie. And aside of the obvious jokes that someone would say, this is a fantastic plushie. The details are honestly fantastic, like her hair and these beads, which are actually made of plastic. And for a plushie that was $25 back in the day, it felt like a steal. And I'm not gonna lie, my next goal would be to have a double diamond, a night glider, and a party favor. But again, these plushies are super expensive and super rare nowadays to find in the secondary market. So please, Symbiote Studios, can you make this for just please for me? Thank you. And that's every single character I have, at least from the show, because we still have some other plushies to look at, mainly from conventions. Let's start with the first convention I ever attended, Bronycon 2014. This convention still holds a special place in my heart, not just because it was my first MLP convention in the US, but because I assisted with my grandmother, and it ended up being her first and last convention she ever attended. So these plushies, more specifically this one, are a small reminder not only of her, but also of the memories we had. They're simple, soft, and, again, incredible. Especially with their Bronycon convention badges, which sadly not most of them have in the secondary market. And one of these plushies is even signed by a very special actor that I had the pleasure to meet. And as a whole, these are classy, amazing, and you know, they're just classics. Next, we have the Philicon mascots. Now, I might be a little bit biased, but I absolutely love these three. I remember when the promotional artwork of these three first revealed, and I fell in love immediately, specifically when it came to Freedom Bell and Rocky. Their designs are extremely simple, like very simple, but instantly recognizable at the same time, and their accessories are a plus, like Rocky's boxing gloves or Freedom Bell's bow that is so American that it hurts. And every time that I look at them now, I don't just remember the convention, which, just to say, it was amazing, great time, but also remembering the first time I met my very first group of online friends, aside of just enjoying Philadelphia, and having the chance to meet other pony animators and artists of the time. Next we have the PAPSCon mascots, Silver Span and Copper Chip. But no Golden Gates. And while the convention wasn't as memorable as Philicon, at least in my opinion, and at least the one that I assisted, I always liked these mascots' designs, but the execution isn't really the best, specifically Silverspan, as he can't stand to save his life, and this is because of his mane, who weighs him down a lot, which is honestly quite annoying, especially if you try to display him, but also kinda hilarious. But aside of that, these two are adorable and the accessories are incredibly cute, like Silverspan's necklace and wristband and Copper Chip's bow and glasses. So overall, cute plushies, kinda just okay execution. Now we have my favorite convention mascots ever. The Everfree 2017 Plushies, Mocha Sunrise, Front Page, Novella, and Sharp Pie. So what makes this set so great? Well, a lot of things, actually, either because of their posability, like wired wings, which I believe this was my first ever plushie to have that, or iconic designs like with Front Page's visor, which is actually made out of plastic, or her coat, which is, ironically, one of my favorite colors, and looking extremely accurate to her art, maybe one of the more accurate ever plushies to resemble her arts. Odd, unexpected standout characters like Novella and Sharp Pie, two mascots I feel are massively underrated. Sharp Pie specifically being my favorite, because look at him, he's so tiny, and one of my smallest plushies in my entire collection, but one that is packed full of detail. That and the fact that they have glow-in-the-dark stars on their manes, or the 2017 embroidered into their hoof, are little details that add a plus to their designs, and that's why they are my favorite convention plushies ever made. And finally, we have my last plushie, Snowdrift, a mascot that is very obscure, as not many people know about him. He was one of the mascots for the convention MLP MSP in Minneapolis, and even had a little description on his tag, which is neat. But what makes him such a memorable and iconic character and plushie, at least to me, is because he represents my last MLP convention I ever attended, and a turning point in my life. Around that time, I started working as a freelance artist, but sadly that didn't really work out, being in one of my worst periods I had in my entire life at that point, where people who I trusted left me, my partner at the time betrayed me, and my family saw me as a big disappointment. And it's strange how this plush in one way or another helped me, when other people didn't really care. Aside of that, it served as inspiration to create my own OC, as a lot of the elements in his design not only I identified with, but also represent me IRL, like this scarf and the fact that he also likes hockey, which, yeah, I like hockey. And for that, that's why I will always cherish this plushie, maybe forever. But that's my entire collection, so tell me, what do you think of this collection and characters in the comments? And remember, if you made it this far, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. This is something I don't do that often, but tell me, would you like to see more videos like this? Maybe me telling stories or just talking about situations in the MLP fandom? Well, leave it in the comments. And as for me, remember, take care, stay creative, and I'll see you in my next video.